Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Hey You Guys YouTube channel. Scott J. Davis here, joined by the lovely Linda Marric.
Hello, hi Scott, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Third time lucky.
Third time
Me and
lucky.
you
This
know
is
what
the
that means.
this is the third time
Third
we've
time
recorded
lucky.
this
We've recorded this.
introduction.
Apologies if
Yeah,
my camera cuts out. It's been a bit temperamental,
yeah,
so
no,
we'll just have
yeah.
to we'll just put
Oh, the first time it wasn't your fault. I had to
we'll
go
just
and
put
answer the
images
door.
over it or something. Anyway, we are back with another review, and this week we're going to, well, in this episode we're going to talk about Courting a Legend. A great play on words for this film, directed by Ben Affleck, and it's been very well received thus far. Had its debut at South by Southwest, very well received,
Yeah,
and it's screened since then and been very well received. And now it's coming to the UK shores. And I guess with the UK, it's a very American story, and sometimes they don't translate. We were talking off air about something like 80 for Brady, which is about the Super Bowl and doesn't quite translate. However, this one does, and very, very well. It does indeed. Linda, give me your early thoughts on this one. Were you excited about this
yeah.
one?
As you
Because it's
very
had a lot
much
of
so.
praise already.
Very much so. I'm a big fan of Ben Affleck as an actor, um, and I'm a fan of Ben Affleck as an actor and as a director. And I've been really looking forward to it. Even before I knew it was going to do well, even before the standing ovation, apparently a 10-minute standing ovation at South by Southwest, seeing as we are judging films on how many minutes they get as a standing ovation from now on.
Yeah,
Yeah, well deserved. It was exactly everything I was looking. It's funny, it tells a really interesting story, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. As I say, it's supposed to really be. It's not really a biopic because it's not. It takes a fair bit of artistic license with the story, and it's. Loads of the characters don't really look the same, and I think there's a comedic sort of thread going through it as well. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. So yeah, what about you?
yeah, I did. Yeah, there goes my camera. There it goes. I'll carry on talking until it comes back on. I'm going to put my mouse like right there just in case. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It has a very welcoming uh facade to it. So we say facade's probably
Mm,
not the right word, but it's a very welcoming film. Even from right from the beginning, it starts with Dire Straits playing in the 80s. It has this great little 80s montage of
yeah,
setting the scene and everything else. And even from there, you can get a sense that this is going to be a very fun, very welcoming film, and that it's going to be accessible. It's not necessarily going to be whether you're British or American or
yeah.
from from
I
Europe or
think
from Africa or anywhere like that. It is
yeah,
a story in itself. It's almost like not a David versus Goliath story, but it is about someone taking a very big
it is. It
gamble,
is. Yeah, yeah,
gamble in the house and winning the house in something
yeah,
that really at that time wasn't really heard of. So I really enjoyed it. It's as you say, a fantastic cast. I mean, the cast is just
yeah. I mean,
sensational.
there
I think.
is. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
Oh, I
finish.
was just going to say, also, Ben Affleck is maturing into a. I mean, obviously he's won Oscars already, as a
Yeah,
filmmaker, but he's maturing into a very, very good filmmaker, and he really has a knack of understanding the material that he's working with. With this one, which is very, very different to some of the other stuff he's done, there's a through line, which is that he understands the material and he understands the story that he wants to tell and the way he wants it shot, and he really hones in on the
yeah,
key actors to
yeah,
make it work. And in this one, the same as with Argo, that he was is well, obviously he did Live by Night and then Argo before that. Has this fantastic knack of bringing these kind of stories to life in such a unique way. And he's taken all the experience of him, what he's had as an actor, into all of these films. And I guess if anyone you could say has helped him with this one, you could say that not necessarily it's about Kevin Smith, but in terms of like the humor, there's a little bit of just there's a few Kevin Smith sees, not in terms of its humor, not in terms of thing, but just in terms of the
yeah, yeah,
the the,
yeah,
the kind of the fun aspect of it, because this isn't a super
yeah.
serious film, even though it is a drama to a degree. I think that
It's
that
a
works
sort of
really
a
well.
dramedy. It's a drama comedy. But
Dramedy,
I
yeah,
think, as you were saying, he knows what to get out of the story. I think what he understands above all is what makes the viewer tick. I think he's a very, very astute and very intelligent film director because he knows exactly what when you go and sit in the cinema for an hour and a half, 2 hours, what you want to feel things for the story, for the protagonists. You want to root for the protagonists, and you want to have a bit of a laugh. And I think here in Argo, I mean, in the town, obviously the town wasn't a comedy, and Gone Baby Gone wasn't a comedy, but in each of these films, he genuinely understands what makes the audience members, like cinema goers, tick, and I think that's very
Mm.
clever. And people should not discount him ever. And I like, as I said, I am a big Ben Affleck fan as both an actor and director, and I think this is again another win for him. Yeah, and like again, I think there's been some comparisons to Jerry Maguire, one of my favorite movies of all time. I have written countless essays and features about Jerry Maguire as a fan of Jerry Maguire, and as a fan of sports movies. And I think there's a fair bit of homage being paid to it here, specifically in the Chris Messina
Yes,
character.
the agent.
Yeah, yeah, the agent. Oh, brilliant. Those characters. I mean, it's a bit like they're having a whale of a time in those phone calls. And apparently, I watched an interview with Ben and Matt Damon earlier this week, where they said all of those phone calls that we see, they were all recorded the same day. So they
That's
had the whole
that's how
day.
those things should be should be
Yeah,
done. You know,
exactly.
you get
Yeah,
those ones that just recorded. Oh, I recorded my bit, and then they recorded their bit 3 days later. It's like, come on, just sit in the room and do it. Certainly, there's a way
yeah,
you could do it. You
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But yeah, there's a really kind of fantastic energy to the film, led by Matt Damon, who he has this wonderful kind of everyman quality
yeah,
in all the stuff that he does, and in this one, it's like the epitome of what makes him such a brilliant actor and a fantastic star, and why people always kind of flock to see his films. You can see bits of, obviously I guess the biggest film he's made in recent times is obviously The Martian, which people loved, and that was a drama comedy kind of thing. And he's really comfortable in that ballpark. And for this character that he plays, which is based on a real person, it is a real person, but it's obvious, as you say, there's it's a drama, so there's
yeah,
artistic licenses taken and everything else.
yeah.
He really embodies all of the kind of everyman qualities of this guy. This guy is just
And you want him to
he
win.
wants to succeed. You want him to
Yeah,
win. Yeah, you
you
want him
want
to
him
win.
to
And this
win.
isn't about basketball or anything like that. This isn't about Michael Jordan, all the
Yeah,
stuff in between. It's about a guy trying to do the best job that he can possibly do, and he believes that by taking this one risk, that the win would be quite handsome. And as it
yeah.
transpires,
I
it kind of
also,
was.
yeah, I also want to talk about the Ben Affleck, who's playing his performance as Phil Knight, the
Yep, CEO of
owner of
Nike.
Nike, who such a fantastic performance. It's really out of, like, I think there's a lot of Mickey being taken out here, and apparently he's gone and showed it to him, and Phil Knight was not offended in any way by it. And I mean, there's a lot of truth in it, because he was an airy fairy kind of Buddhist kind of guy, kind of boss, who sort of blue sky thinking and all that. And
Some CEOs
yeah,
are. It's not
yeah,
it's not a stretch to
yeah,
think back
yeah,
to
exactly.
it.
And apparently he absolutely loved the performance. I mean, there's really it's completely like bonkers performance, and a bit wiggy, as I like to say. The
Yeah, he's all
uh,
permed up, isn't
yeah,
he?
yeah. But yeah, I just thought it was fantastic. I mean, I could talk about this film for hours and hours, and I think
Mm.
there's a lot. And also, there is. I heard that both Ben and Matt have got a new production company, so they're going to be working a bit more together
Yeah, I think
again.
this is their first one, because
Yeah,
obviously most of you know they did Google Hunting together. They haven't done a hell of a lot of stuff in between because they've both been so busy. But then obviously they
yeah,
did The Last Duel
yeah.
together, which came out in 2021, which similarly
I
nobody
liked it.
saw. Go out and see it. It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
Go and see it. They're both in that, and they co-wrote that with Nicole Hoffel. Is it
I
Hoffler,
can't.
where she does a
I don't.
Jodie
Yeah,
Comer part. Anyway,
yeah.
go see it. That's what I'm gonna say.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's nice to have them working back together again, because I'm sure people have tried over the years to get them to do something. And while they are in this film together, they're not necessarily together in the film. It's an ensemble piece. Now, Matt Damon is the star of the film. It's his kind
Yeah,
of story, but there's
yeah.
Ben Affleck and there's Chris Tucker, who I love seeing. He doesn't
Oh,
do a whole lot
brilliant.
these days, but
That's
it's great to see
brilliant.
him. Jason Bateman just being Jason Bateman. I mean,
Oh, lovely.
if you can tolerate such things, then you're in for a treat. I have to say, once again, Viola Davis is just extraordinary. Anything, and
Yeah.
she's in a supporting role here, but she's so good. And it's apparently, I read on, again, I don't trust Wikipedia, but apparently there is a thing that Michael Jordan,
No, no, it's true.
when
I
he
saw
was
her. Yeah,
okay, so
I
Michael
saw
Jordan,
an
when he
interview.
was
That is
approached
true.
about the film, and he didn't, they didn't necessarily need to get his blessing because it's not a biopic. But when Ben Affleck sat down with him and spoke to him about it, he suggested Viola Davis to play his mum,
Yeah.
which
Also,
Ben Affleck obviously thought that's a great idea.
another point to make is that Michael Jordan is not depicted at all in
Yeah,
the film. You see him, but you never see his face or anything because, and I believe, I guessed so, but then again, I went and read and watched a few interviews with Ben Affleck, and he said that the reason why he didn't like cast anyone in that role is because people know who Michael Jordan is. Whoever he was going to pick to play Michael Jordan, the man in the streets go, that's not Michael Jordan. I know what Michael Jordan looks like. So, you can't sell me this idea, this fake idea of Michael Jordan.
yeah,
I think that is such a brilliant decision, and I think that's again shows how smart
mm,
he is about what he knows exactly what he's doing. And I think that is
yeah,
it takes someone who is really in tune with his filmmaking, with his direction, to know the things to do and the things not to do. And I think that's
yeah.
brilliant.
Like you say, in terms of story as well, it makes sense to not necessarily see him because at that point in his
Yeah,
career, he was, even though he was a rookie and everyone was talking about how he was going to be this amazing basketball player, his mum was, person who above all wanted to make sure her son was protected and well looked after. So she is kind of the front and center at the moment because in this particular, shall we say, business transaction that they're trying to do, she obviously is the one that is wanting to cross the I's and dot the T's because she wants to make sure that her son's, does the right thing and it's good for his career. So it makes sense that she would be here, and obviously
yeah,
his dad as well is part of it as well. That she
yeah,
in those days was part of his was kind of not his manager per se, but she was the one that wanted him
yeah,
taken
yeah,
care
yeah,
of.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
makes sense. It makes sense to not have Michael Jordan, and then you don't. You know what he looks like. You know what the shoe looks
You
like.
know
It's not about that's
exactly.
not the story that they're telling. If you want
I,
a Michael Jordan biopic, I'm sure someone will make one if they haven't already made one somewhere
yeah,
anyway. So
I think that the crux of the story really is it tells the story of how the the culture around shoe deals changed because of
mm,
that particular deal. Before
yeah,
then, a player would get a sum, like a bulk sum once, and sign a deal, wear the shoe, and then sign another deal again the year after. With
yeah,
Michael, what happened with Michael Jordan? I think everyone knows this. I mean, it's not something. He was the very first player to ask for a cut of every single shoe that was sold under his name, only the Air Jordan shoe. And Nike, in the end said yes. I hope this isn't too much of a spoiler. I think everyone knows that, really. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
all
I
in
think
all, I
it's a
think
they had a thing back in those days. It's the same with how sport has changed over the decades since, and all that kind of stuff. You look at how much players are paid now in terms of basketball, American football, football in this country, soccer if you're watching in America, and all that kind of stuff. What's great about this is that I'm sure it's the same, but I think bottom line with Michael Jordan's mum, particularly in this, that she didn't want him to be another number. Yes, they've got Adidas, like, yeah, we'll give him this much money and he'll be there. But it wasn't Nike's whole thing was we want to make him the center. We want to have the shoe as part of him. We don't want him to just be wearing Nikes. We want him to be
yeah,
wearing
I
his
mean,
own Nikes that no one else has.
yeah,
And it's going to be amazing. And then
and they
it takes him into the stratosphere, takes the shoe into the stratosphere with him because he's going to become this amazing thing. And lo and behold,
yeah,
he became the greatest basketball player of all
yeah,
time, arguably.
yeah. And that deal set a precedent for everything that came
Yeah,
after it.
everybody
I mean,
wanted a slice
the
after that, I
reason
bet.
why where we ended up with the Jerry Maguire situation that you see, if you cast your mind back to the Jerry Maguire storyline, is sports agents signing players for millions and millions of dollars to just represent shoes and stuff like that. And I think that whole sort of really murky, a really toxic culture started from from that. Unfortunately, I mean, it set precedent by liberating the players, the sort of specifically players of color, but at the same time it created this atmosphere where the shoe deal became very important, sometimes more important than anything else.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's
Yeah, and
capitalism.
like you say, culturally as well, not just for basketball, but just
Yeah,
for for the culture itself in the world in terms, like say, with black players and black athletes and all those kind of things in between. It's such a monumental thing for so many reasons that, despite the fact that there was this enormous risk, actually it not only changed the culture of that, but changed the culture of the world, in sport
Yeah.
and in so many different things. So you can trace it back to there for a lot of different things. And I think that's a really important part of the story, and that this wasn't just about money and a shoe. It was a lot more than that. And I think the film does a great way of kind of representing all of that, which is great. So let's do scores then. Linda, what are you going to give it?
I think my heart wants to say 5 because I love everyone involved in this movie. I don't think it's a 5-star movie because I have to be honest with myself. I gave it 4 when I reviewed it, and I'm going to stick with 4, but my heart wants to say 5 because I had a whale of a time. Such a great crowd pleaser, and it's going to run and run. I'm hoping anyway. I think it's going to do very well.
Yeah,
What about you?
I've given it a 4 stars as well. My review's going up, hopefully a bit later today. I literally only saw it yesterday, so I'm just like a
Right,
bit
yeah.
behind. So
Saw it last
I didn't see
week.
it. Yeah. I was supposed to see it last week, but I had to see something else, and you know how it is.
Yeah.
Things move about. Also, let me just say as well, kudos to Amazon and Warner Brothers for putting this in the cinemas, because it was going to go on straight onto Amazon Prime, but they saw the film and was like, no, this is a really good old-fashioned crowd pleaser. We need
It
to
should be seen with loads of other people.
And I
Yeah.
hope actually, and this is my little takeaway from this, as the film and Michael Jordan and the deal in the film sets a precedent, I hope this sets a precedent for streamers to start
Yeah.
reverting back to cinemas, because people want to see these films in cinemas. I know there's a lot of films that probably will go straight to streaming just because of the sheer nature of them or whatever they are, et cetera, et cetera. But it's so refreshing that Amazon have done this, because there's so many films that they've had that they've put straight
Yeah.
onto streaming for various different reasons. Obviously, the pandemic being
Yeah.
part of it and the state of cinema and everything else. The fact that they've decided to put this into cinemas, and not even just like a handful of cinemas, like a proper cinema release, 3,000 screens, I think it's in
Yeah,
America.
good. It should
Going to be
be.
screening all over in the UK and all over the world at different points. Obviously, we'll be on Amazon Prime at some point as well if you don't get a chance to see it. But the fact that they've
And
managed
like
to
you
do that, I
say,
think hopefully, and also then today I've read that Napoleon and obviously Scorsese's films that they've made for Apple are going to be releasing them in the cinemas properly again as
good.
well. It's just,
Good.
it's such a great, refreshing thing to hear. I'm so excited for
Yeah,
that
me
they're
too.
starting to do that, which is now obviously there's news that Netflix are like starting to like, when Netflix should also be doing
But
this. I know
Netflix
that
do.
the
Netflix has,
streamer business is very different, but
yeah.
I
As
think
you were
that should
saying, like
be.
you were saying before, it doesn't matter. It's okay if they release a few things directly
Yeah, of
onto
course, of
to
course.
Amazon, like a tiny little sort of rom-com like the Dave Franco rom-com
Yeah,
that came out.
yeah,
I mean, something like that I don't think warrants you don't think it needs to be watched with loads of people in the cinema. But a film like this is like, there's some brilliant performances here, and it's
yeah.
such a story with so much heart. And I would have been absolutely gutted, and I deliberately went to the multimedia screening, which is loads of people, rather than the smaller screening, which was this week, because I really wanted to hear what people thought of it. I wanted to be in the throngs of what because
Yeah.
I'd heard that it was absolutely like people were laughing throughout it, and I wanted to feel that. So and it helped my review to say.
That's good. I was sitting a few seats away from Mark Commode, and he was laughing, so it'd be interesting to
Yeah.
hear his review
Oh,
at the
good.
weekend when he does
Good.
it. So that'll be good.
Oh, good. I'm glad Mark liked it.
Anyway, Air is
Right.
out in cinemas on Wednesday, April the 5th. Make sure you go and see it. And also make sure you subscribe to the HeyUGuys YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe to the video. Leave us a comment. What did you think of Air? Let us know when you see it.
Yeah.
What did you think?
And we will
We'll be
see
back with some
you.
more reviews very soon.
Yeah.
We'll decide off camera, because we're running out of time on our little meeting
Yeah.
here.
We're right. Okay,
What
we've
we're
got
going
to
to
go.
review next, but stick to HeyUGuys. Oh, make sure you check out the HeyUGuys TikTok.
Yes,
Loads of
please.
stuff
Yes,
going up
TikTok.
there. Loads of stuff
Yeah.
going up on
And
there.
follow both of us on
Stuff.
TikTok.
Follow us. All the usual jargon, all the usual stuff. Until next
Yeah.
time, we'll see you very soon.
All
Take
right.
care. Goodbye.
Okay. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey, you